in the same type
of
draft.
With the support Leshrac?
With the, well, the supports in that case were Witch Doctor and Undying.
Yeah, I think with the Leshrac, it's more likely to be the core Leshrac, and unless they change their mind because of the Bloodseeker matchup. But we'll kind of see. I think G-Guard really interesting because they've been running a lot of unconventional offlaners for Ben. He's played Lone Druid, he did Alina offlane. He's really been put on these different kinds of heroes, which shows they are pretty flexible with their picks.
Yeah, I like seeing that a lot, actually.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this goes in. And Bristleback is the final pickup for Sam H, which is kind of weird because we usually see Sam H on heroes like Nature's Prophet or other heroes that are really active, leave the lane early. And Bristleback, not quite that type of hero. He probably will TP in to fight early, but not quite as early as a minute.
Well, we talked about all the burst damage that G-Guard can put out, and they have picked up a super tanky lineup. I mean, Queen of Pain, the one outlier on the front, but not very susceptible to burst kind of team.
No.
So based on draft, who are we favoring?
I like this TNC draft. I'm not really that sold on the Lone Druid. He doesn't feel particularly strong to me on this patch. The few games I've seen have not really gone so well. I did not catch the game that they played the other day, so maybe I'm living in the past.
I like what TNC have done. They've got two tanky, very tanky cores in Bristle and Bloodseeker, and I think it matches up well against the kind of glass cannon type lineup G-Guard have. And G-Guard really need to do on the lightning stage, I think, to have a chance in the mid game.
Yeah, no doubt.
With that, it's time to go into our first game of TNC versus G-Guard. K-Apoptosis and Sayori, take it away.
Alrighty here. TNC on the Radiant side, they will move aggressive through the top lane. 5-man squad ready to rock and roll and perhaps look for some early skirmishing here. Not a huge amount of wards to put down. The Queen of Pain is carrying them for now. She's got 4 wards. Never mind. A few more than I would have thought.
Goodness. Yeah, I think they're both aware that this Bristleback is going to be the issue. Or the weakest lane for them is TNC, so they want to make sure that they put down some good wards here and see what they can do.
Yep. And G-Guard, they won't get caught unaware with this potential early skirmish. Radiant get down an Observer ward, and they get the Sentry straight away. So G-Guard with a victory here out of the gate as we'll move into our first pause for some lag.
This is actually a really good Sentry ward placement from G-Guard. The way TNC has been warding top lane in the games I've seen, they'll either go super far to the eastern side or super far to the western side in order to avoid that single Sentry ward that kind of gets placed out in this little area. If I can ping it out 1 second, this little kind of this area. So by putting it too far to the east, that is usually what they do, try to get out of that radius, but G-Guard is smart enough to throw 1 Sentry on the eastern side, and they know if that doesn't catch anything, it's probably over here on the western side, up closer to the tower. They've actually even warded here before. There we go, right there, which is a very interesting ward spot, but it worked out really well for them because it got through 2 Sentry wards without dying, so good placement, good placement. Yep. I'm not sure how I feel about the support Leshrac for G-Guard. It works well with the Shadow Demon, but with how tanky TNC's lineup is, the sustain really isn't there for G-Guard. And they're pretty paper except for the Lone Druid.
Exactly. This is a super aggressive support duo, and they basically need to find kills for this to really work out well. Farming in the jungle, they can make some use of it, but against this tanky lineup, that seems a little bit tricky, and they just don't have any kind of reset tool. Like you mentioned, no Dazzle, no Witch Doctor, nobody that can come in, TP to a lane, and really save someone if they get dove on by a Quap or a Bristle.
And with Earthshaker and Abaddon as your support duo, it's going to be very hard for them to find these early game pickoffs, which their lineup is basically going to be relying on.
Especially that Abaddon. I look at this game, and it just feels like really almost a perfect pick here. Quite a few stuns that he can cleanse off with the Aphotic Shield, and certainly that Mist Coil will put out a fair bit of healing. So it appears the Lone Druid will be headed to the off lane, and I'm really curious what the Lone Druid will get done here. I'm still trying to figure out the value of that pick in this particular matchup. It doesn't really seem to fit in. Instead, they've got some pushing power.
Yeah,
I just don't see the synergy.
I think they looked at themselves and said, okay, we have decent push with the Leshrac, but he's a support, so he's going to have a hard time getting points up in Edict, so we need a little bit of push. We need a little bit of tankiness, and we need someone who can do well in his lane. And Lone Druid usually does pretty well in his lane, so I think that's probably the best decision. Well, it's as simple as turning off your voice volume.
Just go ahead and mute us there, Winter. That should fix all of your woes.
If you can hear us, Winter.
That is a really obnoxious bug, though.
It really is.
That is one of the worst bugs we've had in competitive Dota in a while, where you randomly reconnect, and sometimes I don't know, I guess those packets get confused. They don't know where they're going. Teehee. Here we go. All right, Bloodseeker. You know, I'm glad somebody is actually playing Bloodseeker. I feel like this is a hero that has really been forgotten about and is very, very potent, especially against a lot of these kind of tanky magical cores like Lesh that we're seeing on the rise. Yeah, we keep seeing these heroes that kind of come out of nowhere that just get buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed to the point where they got to be good at some point. And Bloodseeker is definitely one of those heroes. He got reworked completely recently, but he's had some buffs as well, and I think his current setup with Thirst is very strong. So Yamate will take the Lina, will indeed be a core here in the mid lane. And this Abaddon will be sitting around mid like I suggested he might. Yeah, good call on that one. Earthshaker right now is just hanging out in the well. He's already had to walk back. I guess he blocked for the top lane to get a little Creepolibrium. And didn't have any clarities. No clarities still. He could have picked up a couple, but he'll just hang on to his gold for now. Interesting rotation from him, but does get the Bristleback off to a good start. In general, I'm really agreeing with Cinder in these days that the offlane Bristle feels a bit underwhelming compared to when he is either mid or more of a driver's seat in the safe lane. But in this matchup, I think it works pretty well because we've talked a lot about the burst damage, but they just need a beefcake in the front line. With the Abaddon to back him up, I feel like they don't need him to have that SNY kind of driver's seat role. I feel like he's a good hero, maybe a bad lane, and it's not really a Sam H hero, but I think it works well enough in the lineup that I think it'll be okay. I think there are probably some better pickups, but it won't hurt them, I don't think, to go with the Bristleback. Yeah. And they have quite a few low armor heroes on the side of G-Guard, at least in the early stage, so that is something else to keep in mind. All those spellcasters, not really known for their ability to take physical damage. It's just the amount of sustaining getting lane with his Blood Rage is just insane. Yep. Suddenly 2 less hits and you're back up to full. It's quite nice. A hard guy to lane against, especially against Alina. So, safe lane for TNC. We've got a Queen of Pain, and there will be a Earthshaker backing her up. We've seen a surprising amount of safe lane Queen of Pains in this qualifier. You know what I'm expecting to see now? I was talking about how it's kind of not a Sam H hero to see Bristleback. Sam H is more of a roaming hero. He likes to TP lanes early, be involved with fights really quick, and that's not really Bristleback's forte. But I think what we'll see instead is a lot of supports roaming up to Sam H's lane instead, because we have Noji, the Quap. She is much more uniquely available to be able to help other lanes. So I think we'll see instead of Sam H TPing to his carry's lane, it'll be more of Noji TPing to Sam H's lane to get some stuff done early. Yeah. Lone Druid not really farming too well in the off lane here. 4 and 2, about equal with the Bristleback. We'll see the Quap get a little more aggressive, throw out a Shadow Strike rather, and look at this build that she's gone for against the LD. 2 points in the Shadow Strike early on. We'll probably start putting points in the Scream for a 2-1-2. But a great way to harass the Druid, and you see how much damage it does to him just when she can poke forward and give him the dagger. Yep. And T's doing a pretty good job in this middle lane. Yamate is doing all right, but T getting a lot of denies off Mountain. Oh, Blood Right coming out. Will connect onto Yamate. They will dive this. Absolutely. He's already got the Aphotic Shield on. Decent damage, and now they will back off. But great harassment. But the rotations are here. They'll set it up with the Shadow Demon. Follow up LSA as well as the Splitter. Can they bring down the Abaddon? Yes, they can. That's a first blood, but Teehee will get a counter kill on the Lesh. 1 for 1. It is Ling on the Lesh rack that gets the first blood bonus gold. So it does indeed go to a support. Really heads up play by G-Guard being ready to go. Because this is normally what happens. Teehee will get like 3 levels, 4 levels, and just dive the enemy mid with that Abaddon and Aphotic Shield, and G-Guard was ready for it. Even though TNC doesn't get the first blood, I feel like that's still a pretty decent trade. It's not bad. Yeah, the Bloodseeker gets credit for the kill, and he was solo when that happened, so he gets a solo kill. He's now almost level 5, and the Lina, she should be a little bit behind. Oh, wow, no, she's level 5. I take that back, but set up into the Blood Right. She is in trouble. LSA will be off the mark. So manages to get it off. That's something. Dragon Slave, oh my, the Abaddon can't quite get there in time to heal the Bloodseeker. Minor misplay there from this Radiant side, and now he'll be on the run. Winter inbound, trying to bring him down. The Bear, body blocks coming out of plenty. Beautifully done. The Abaddon forced to the side, and now they should be able to set up this kill. Lightning Storm makes it easy as Winter gets credit for that one. 3-1 as G-Guard pull ahead. G-Guard's been doing their research. They know how aggressive TNC like to be, and they're doing a fantastic job. Ready to go with TPs, ready to go with early rotations to turn those really aggressive plays back onto TNC. So, nice play here. Yeah, very nicely done. I feel like TNC could have handled that a little bit better, though. The Bloodseeker got low. He tried to juke into the tree line, and you can understand why he wanted to get into Fog, but unfortunately it got him too far away from his Abaddon.
That's kind of the situation you get in with Bloodseeker, is you tend to be a little over-aggressive at low health, because you know if you can get the quick hero kill, then all of a sudden you can turn... It's kind of like being a Bane when you go to gank, right? You're not that worried if you're down to 100 health, because if you know you can get that clutch brain sap off, it changes the momentum so much, because the net change is massive.
Yeah.
You kill a hero and suddenly you have 200 more, 300 more HP from the heal, and then you can go and sometimes get a double kill.
Yeah,
so,
that's a great point. That's something that's often overlooked. I was going to say underlooked. Overlooked is that net change, not just the raw damage, but how much Bloodseeker actually heals based off that damage he does. So.
Exactly. So you normally will still go for those plays when you're that low on Bloodseeker, but it makes it relatively easy for the Lina to just, Dragon Slave and right click, killing you down. So high risk, high reward hero.
Up top, Bristleback, almost in some trouble, but Lesh will go for the stun first, split Earthly off the mark, and Sam here will survive. Looks like both safe laners farming pretty evenly. The Gyrocopter and the Queen of Pain hovering around 30 CS for now. Mid lane moving in favor of Teehee, putting a lot of pressure onto Yamate. Connects with the Blood Right yet again. This time he'll die in the tower. This should be an easy kill for the Bloodseeker. Takes Laguna to the face, but not enough to bring him down, as Abaddon can just heal him right back up. So things getting a little more lopsided here in the mid lane, and Ben will rotate over, try and absorb some of this XP and get some extra last hits, but I feel like a lone druid that's this underfarmed is quickly going to become a liability for G-Guard. He's only got about 8 CS right now. That's as much as the Earthshaker for a point of reference.
Yeah, I expected him to do a lot better, but the Earthshaker was doing a really good job keeping that creep equilibrium far back, and Noji just being very aggressive, putting 2 points in his Shadow Strike early just to zone him back very fast, is making Ben starred for both levels and farm.
So Queen of Pain, hold that thought, is up top. Bristleback will go down, call down, sets it up. He gets the kill on the Shadow Demon before it starts though, so he gets a solo kill before dying. All things considered, not bad for an offlaner in that scenario. Now right back to the mid lane, we'll see some more aggression. Ben gets stunned by the Fissure. Teehee coming in, but the Lone Druid just a bit too far back.
And Abaddon will get that last hit with a miscoil, so that's pretty good for him because he was pretty poor. Teehee, he'll probably, you'll see most likely the Blade Mail coming up next, and then he usually likes to go after that straight into a BKB, especially with the lineup like Lina, Shadow Demon, Lesh, Gyro.
Bottom lane, they're going to set up onto the Lina, and that's a Sonic Wave to secure the kill. Nice rotation here from TNC, set it up with the Fissure on 7, and Yamate now in a world of hurt. You look at his net worth, and it's down to 2.3K.
This is a UFC fight of a match. It's just blow for blow for blow. Like, no one's really coming out on top, and I would say TNC they look better in the net worth category, but at the end of the day, like, they keep trading these kills off. It really depends on what the first major fight is.
Paying some penance there to one sinks in with the Beaver Knight. Up top, we'll see Sam get set up on, and yeah, this is where the Bristleback starts to struggle. He is level 6. He's picked up a cloak even to try to mitigate some of this, but it's just not enough. Ben, nice heads-up play to TP out. That is the counter to the Bloodseeker, a classic in the pub games.
Oh, yeah.
Get ruptured and, well, just TP home.
I mean, it's nice to be able to make them leave the lane so easily with that rupture, but it'll be another while before you can try to go for that gank again. Another thing that TNC likes to do is they like to go for these heroes with relatively low cooldowns on their really big spells. So just about every minute they could turn around. You can have Rupture every minute. Abaddon's going to have Borrowed Time so he can dive in every minute. Bristleback, I mean, the longest cooldown he has on any ability is like 5 seconds, 4 seconds.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what build the Queen of Pain goes for.
3 seconds on Quills.
Is this an Orchid or an Ags kind of game? And I'm tempted to say the latter. And seems more often than not with these safe lane co-ops, they stay quiet for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden you get the Aghanim Scepter, and then you can erupt in this flurry of a team fight where you have a very spammable ultimate.
Exactly. And this is a little bit different for TNC. I've seen their one position get involved a lot more early, but he hasn't really had to. They're kind of sticking around. They're slightly winning the net worth battle overall, even though Gyro's at the top. So it's Quap staying in place has been the right decision so far for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The Gyro, he's been getting a lot. TNC are getting more out of the other 2 lanes, so this Bloodseeker really starting to pick up momentum. And this is sort of similar to Lesh, a very momentum-based hero. He stops off for drums after the power treads. So we'll just go for kind of a tanky skirmish type build. How did they build the Bloodseeker in the game prior? I mean, Dagon can be a valuable item on him just to get people low, so he gets that movement speed.
Yeah, they didn't go drum. They went blade mail BKB.
Okay, yeah, with the blade mail. That was the key item.
I'm surprised that he didn't get a blade mail here. Maybe he's just expecting, just needing to tank up a bit more than the blade mail will give him.
Nice vision.
Just efficient stats and HP as the bear will go down.
That is a huge win for TNC. Now also set up in the mid lane. Do they have the damage here? Nope, they whiffed the combo. Now Bloodright comes out, will be off the mark. Winter will TP home as he gets ruptured. So, not so bad here for TNC. They really needed that kill, but I don't think they would have got it even if they connected with that Split Earth
Just
LSA.
bobbing and weaving, these teams.
And now Bristleback getting some space up here as the supports have rotated out. Well, what has Net gone for here? I haven't checked in on him too much. Looks
Sange.
like just an early Sange.
I think that's a good pickup.
Okay.
You see that a lot so far. Is you see the really fast Sange into SNY, and I think that's best because he needs the HP really bad. And if you can get a main pick off in these team fights, you normally follow that up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Get a pick off. So
Okay.
the main is slightly undervalued because of how it's one of those things. I had a discussion with Loda with this at one of the Star Ladders about how certain item effects aren't noticeable enough, and so people don't really realize how often they happen. Like the maim on Sange, and it was funny because he talked about specifically the disarm on Heaven's Halberd, and then about a month later, the disarm effect got way more noticeable. And at the next international, you know what? Heaven's Halberd was one of the more popular pickups, even on supports.
Yeah.
You're seeing the sports going the value Sange and the Heaven's Halberd. So I think that's a very fair point. That sometimes you don't really notice how useful it is until it can be really obvious. And I think that's kind of the case with Sange.
You know, I can't recall a time that I've ever said, "Whoa, the maim! It turned the kill around." But I'm sure that has happened before in competitive games.
I think that happened really because you saw Troll, and he went SNY almost always. And you would notice more when the Troll would get maybe that ranged maim, how big it was, because he was able to follow that up almost always with a kill. If you got that one maim off, your attack speed was so fast afterwards that you could usually just chase him down. So,
So has Queen of Pain committed to an item trajectory here? It will be. Will be the Orchid. Interesting. So slightly different. There are a lot of heroes that she can pick off. Basically, everyone besides Gyro and the Lone Druid will be food from an Orchid buff. So I think either item could have worked here, but the Orchid does mean that there will be some solo aggression coming out of the co-op. Also really good to have against someone like a support Lesh who just can't really do anything against it.
Exactly. A lot of silence coming out from TNC, which I think is very useful in these fights.
All right, Yamate in the mid, just trying to find any sort of recovery farm possible. Looks like the Bloodseeker will just go for a fast BKB. Has the Ogre Club now. Could be an SNY, to be fair, if he wants to go for more of a right-click build, which the drums may kind of indicate. Either could be a good choice here, but BKB seems pretty darn good this go-around.
That would be what I would think. I'm wondering why he made the decision to go for the drum over the blade mail, though.
I think last time it was a core Lesh, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was more to deal with the Lesh rack. Here, he just wants to be able to deal with the Lina, and it's going to be a long time before she gets that Aghanims. Assuming she wants to go for the Yules first, maybe with all the setup, she can just go straight for the Ags, but either way, she's feeling a bit underfarmed, so there will be a window where that will definitely be a valuable pickup. Net, he's about to get sandwiched here in the top lane. Abaddon hiding around the tree line. They've got the ward down behind the tower, so they know exactly what's going on. Quap will start moving. Sets it up with a scream. Net moving into the tree line. Limited vision. Now the rotations from the backside. 7 caught by the series of stuns after the disruption. That'll be the first death of this fight. Now TNC continuing to stay aggressive. They push them back and may just settle for the tower.
Yeah, I think that's smart from G-Guard, realizing that even though they got a kill there, there's the rupture they want to deal with. Abaddon still had just gotten his borrowed time. It's probably not a fight that you want to take. Even though they might end up with a favorable exchange, even then, they're in a position where they really don't want any of their cores to die. They really want to just wait it out. The fighting game doesn't benefit them as much as it benefits TNC, so a smart decision there to kind of hang back.
Yeah, good point. So Bloodseeker and Gyro are still farming pretty evenly. That death actually did help level things out a little bit, even though TNC are still holding on to an early game edge from the laning phase. Lone Druid, what's he got on the bear? Any kind of big item progression yet? Nope. Looks like Hand of Midas will be on the horizon. He's at about 1,000 gold, so not too far away. I think the right choice this game. He had such a hard time farming early on. He needs some sort of recovery tool to be relevant as we move into the mid game.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Because G-Guard at this point, they're really just trying to. They got some ganks off early. They're ahead in kills, which is against a team like TNC exactly the position you want to be in.
Whoa! Okay, TNC.
Vietnam just went down.
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully they're able to reconnect here. Yeah, don't give up. Keep on trying. Go kick that router. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of these just mass DCs.
Yeah.
Which are always unfortunate.
But it is a sign that teams are playing together in either a team house, LAN cafe, what have you, and that is good to see, though.
I don't know why I was thinking TNC was Vietnamese. They're Filipino. Excuse me.
You know, I didn't know that well. I wasn't going to correct you, but I feel like I would have heard if they were a Vietnamese team. I feel like Pew would have messaged me. That's the Vietnamese caster, by the way.
I think I heard that just like as an aside, and I thought they were talking about TNC, but we're not talking about TNC. Oh, yeah. Well.
The Viet casters are crazy, man. They're hardcore. Crazy in a good way, mind you.
Oh, yeah.
They go ham. So Mech coming out on the bristleback, another great item for this kind of style that TNC's been playing. Nice and aggressive in your face. They've already started the kind of 5-man rotations, so that'll make things a little easier. Looks like they'll be able to reconnect without any trouble, and we'll resume nice and quickly here. Yeah, always a sigh of relief when that's the case. Smoke rotation up top behind the bristleback. See what they can find here.
Winter playing it careful. They're catching him out a little bit here. Smart play from G-Guard.
Big rotation. Bloodseeker, the only one not with him here. They go right in on the net. He's got the Sange, but this might not be enough to stay alive. Is there any follow-up damage after the Sonic Wave? No, there isn't. The Disruption Split Earth combo will be off the mark. Continue to press through the tower. They might let Net get away here, but they will go for Ling. Blood right as the Bloodseeker heads on up. Winter gets left behind. Net, he gets ruptured, and that will secure the kill. 3-0 as TNC dive the tower. The rest of G-Guard have to hightail it. Well, not even back to the base, to the other lanes. Lone Druid will split push, gets a tower kill out of it, but TNC obviously winning that one.
Yeah, this is kind of what G-Guard has to do, though. They can't really, their lineup isn't really built around sticking together and defending these 5-man pushes from TNC, so they just have to hope that they're lucky on these engagements, that they don't lose too hard, because they really need Farmer, Lone Druid, and Lena if they want to win this game later. So I honestly, even though that was a 3-0 trade, I think G-Guard is still kind of making the right strategic decisions.
Oh, Yamate, I love the synergy here between the Bloodseeker as well as the Earthshaker. Makes setups like that, but Winter in the right place at the right time keeps his Lena alive.
Yeah, this game has been so much on the supports for G-Guard. Winter and Ling getting a lot of good work done, saving their heroes again and again. This could be a lot worse.
Yeah, the defensive disruptions have, well, the defensive and aggressive disruptions have both been key for G-Guard.
What Winter's been really good at this game is knowing when to do which. Because if he went for a defensive disruption in the top lane, I think the Gyro would have died a lot sooner. And so they were able to force him to dive the Tier 1 tower, which, even though they ended up dying in the first place, it was still the right play out of Winter to go for the disruption on the bristleback.
Yeah. So TNC, they need to address this Lone Druid a little bit. They shut him down in lane very well. He now has the Midas, so he will start to recover. In the meanwhile, they will go for Yamate. Rather speedy at the moment, and they won't be able to close the gap. No point in the sticky nasal goo there. Viscous nasal goo, rather, and sticky viscous.
Same thing. I mean, not exactly the same thing.
Almost.
More or less the same thing.
Either way, the goo not leveled up, so no way Yamate is going down. They're also hasted up, so wouldn't have made a difference. T-Heat takes a series of stuns, a couple of auto attacks, but no Laguna deployed. Yule's Scepter, though, is on the way for Ms. Inverse. Steps in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a good de-engagement tool. If the Bloodseeker runs at you, just, Yules them.
Their Shagbark is named Ling. I like that.
No.
Very close to the Orchid. Yep, has both Oblivion Staffs, about 400 gold in the bank. Meanwhile, in the mid, TNC will pressure this Tier 1 tower. Glyph comes out, and we'll just delay the inevitable here. Looks like G-Guard will just let this one go down.
G-Guard really has to be careful here. For the next 10 minutes, TNC's really at their power peak. And so they're going to have to be careful about the engagements they take, because if they make some wrong choices, if they get ran over in the next 5-10 minutes, they could well lose this game relatively quickly. Even though it's pretty even on net worth, this is still TNC with a much better timing.
Yes, this is where they're getting to the peak of their power curve a bit. Blood right, not going to connect on anyone, but T-Heat diving the base pretty hard here. Finishes off the Leshrac, turns around and drops the Shadow Demon. I mean, like you were just pointing out, this is 17 minutes in, and they're happily diving a Tier 3 tower with basically no consequences.
I think he took a Tier 4 shot.
Yep.
It's ridiculous, actually.
And they get a 2-for-0 out of it, and now this Tier 2 in the mid will be going down. They have a glyph, but they won't even use it.
I really think they just have to decide that either Nut or Ben just has to start being involved in these fights. They can't. That's the second time that's happened. They can't keep trying to defend towers 3v5 because the Bloodseeker will just run you down and kill you in your own fountain.
At least Ben is split pushing though. He will get a Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane.
Yeah,
so
this is good. But I think they need to leave Ben doing this. But I think Net needs to be helping out a little bit more in fights.
Well, okay, gets killed by the Dire. That is a minor victory for TNC. At least not giving the last hit to the lone Druid, minimizing some of his efficiency. Is there anything on the actual Druid himself in terms of items? No, but he does have 1,400 gold, so I'm kind of curious what build he'll go for here. The amount of pushing he's done, something like that Maelstrom sort of split push build may be the way to do it. Radiance could be an option, but I think the way this game is going, he needs some items that'll give him a boost in the here and now.
And it will be a Sanjay for Tihi going away from the BKB.
Okay.
He wants to be real fast.
Yeah, going for that right-click style. All right. And Orchid should be right around the corner. It may even be on the courier as things get delivered here. Yep, Archie blows. TNC feeling good right now. They need to keep this aggression up, though, for sure. Utilize all these new item pickups they've found. And continue putting pressure on. BKB coming out soon for Net. He still has some farming to do.
Yeah. I think as soon as he gets to the BKB, he needs to start getting involved in all of these fights.
Yep, I would say even maybe before the BKB if TNC turn up the heat.
Yeah, I don't think he has time. I think if there's another one of these 5-man dives, he has to TP in and throw that call down. He should have level 2 of call down, almost certainly.
Yeah, so. He does. And how many points does he have in the rocket? I feel like that could be a decent tool to try and deal with the Bloodseeker. Only a singleton point, still has the value point, but without a BKB, that's something that can at least stop the Bloodseeker when he's diving Tier 4s and give you a moment. This will be a free Tier 2 tower. They will split push the top and pressure the Tier 1, but TNC should be pretty happy with that trade. About halfway to a Blink Dagger here on the Earthshaker, so 7. Also feeling the benefits of all these early tower kills. Only one outer tower remains, this lone Tier 2 in the top lane.
Who needs specific pushing heroes when you can just group up and right-click?
Yeah. That's the funny thing.
You stare at them like, I dare you.
Yeah, you look at the TNC lineup and you don't go, well, they're going to knock down all the towers by 20 minutes. That's a great pushing lineup, but given that G-Guard can't fight, it ends up being a good sieging roster. And now they just move right into Roche. All that minus armor makes it nice and easy, and they'll grab an Aegis of the Immortal, probably on the Bloodseeker.
G-Guard, I think, is just playing this way too passively at this point. I agree that they should be split pushing. That's really all they can do because they don't have they can't really counter their 5-man with their own 5-man, but man, giving up the Tier 2 into the Roshan completely uncontested on both accounts hurts.
Yeah, this is rocky. So what's the play for TNC here? I'm pretty sure they'll just stay grouped up as 5.
They're just going to group up.
They might not even go for that Tier 2 up top and just go straight for the high ground. Feels a little bit risky, but I think they want to go for it here.
T's already got 2,000 more gold. We'll see what he decides to go for next. I think now is probably the time for the BKB.
Yeah. And I feel like this game is a good example of sort of what I was talking about in the draft with Lone Druid. I'm not totally sold on him on this patch. Sort of like old Morphling. It just takes him too long to come online, but we'll hold that thought for a second here as the fight breaks out. Bristleback in the front lines gets disrupted. Will pop out of it. Dire side are holding on to their glyph for now, so they will have a tool to kind of reset this fight and buy some time. Soul Catcher already used on the Bristleback, and they will get the Tier 3 tower. Still holding the glyph. Aegis of the Immortal is finished off after Yamate drops the Laguna Blade, but now Barracks exposed, taking pretty heavy damage. Disruption set up from Winter. Soul Catcher again. Bear will come in. Sonic Wave drops the Lina. Call down doing a lot of damage here. They'll lose their Queen of Pain, but she's already got her ultimate off, so not too bad. Abaddon used his ultimate already. Tihi will get healed up, and the sustainability here the Abaddon's putting out is great. Beautiful fissure from 7, walks in, drops the Echo Slam. That'll be the end of the Gyrocopter. Net just a little too far out of the base. The Bear almost going down here. Sam really wants it. One more set of quills will get him a 300 gold bounty. The glyph is used. All 3 dead heroes on G-Guard, lacking a buyback right now, and this will be at least 1 lane of Barracks, if not more.
What do you do against this if you're G-Guard? I mean, is this just a draft issue? Just the lone druid just not able to contribute enough in the mid game here?
I think he is a big part of it. The Hand of Midas, as we talked about, felt like the right item to go, but it just takes so long for him to really hit that point where he's scary, and they've already killed the bear at least twice now that we've seen on camera, so that's basically 2 hero kills that they've picked up on top of it. So if you look at it that way, the bear has just everything he's contributed minus 600 net worth from that.
Yeah, and Teehee's just on a spree here.
Yeah, I mean, he could have a Radiance if he wanted it. 3,800 gold. I don't know that it's the build, but he's all tanked up. Basher, great item on the Bloodseeker when he's kind of balling like this.
Radiance Octarine Core for that super short Rupture cooldown and healing off the Radiance. Come on.
There you go. Classic.
That's going to be, if we were playing Dota 1, if we were still in Dota 1 and Octarine Core had been introduced, that would totally be the build. Everyone loved to go Radiance anyway, but then spell stealing off of the Radiance, oh god.
Good old Radiance with its 8% evasion. Yeah, I remember that. Oh boy. BKB starting to come out for the Radiant side, though. Already picked up by the Bloodseeker. Quap will grab that as her next item. And Bristleback just going into full tank mode. Vanguard and the Hooded Defiance now secured for him.
Well, you know you got that 17% miss chance with the burn now for the Radiance, so.
Oh, yeah.
17%.
You're right.
What a number.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you.
It used to be the 8% evasion, right?
Yeah, it's 8% evasion. Now it's like if you're affected by burn, you get the miss chance.
Yeah, that's
so it's probably the same overall because if you're out of the burn radius, you don't miss anything. Yeah, it is the BKB for Bloodseeker. I think that's definitely the right decision because now you can just pop BKB and just run in with impunity.
Yep. Gyro also picked up his big item there. We'll buy him a little bit of time, but Net's biggest problem in the last fight wasn't even magic immunity as much as it was positioning. I don't think a BKB would have saved him after that.
G-Guard once again making the right decision here. All TNC, see, this is the thing, they are very susceptible to split push in the fact that they just always group up as 5. They really don't want to come back and help out 7. He's going to go for the solo smoke.
Oh, he's got a blink echo in about 4 seconds. Net will back off just in the nick of time. That could have been a huge play.
I think they're going to try to catch him out, but a good BKB from Net. It's a 10-second BKB, but it's going to keep him alive, and they might be able to turn around. Stun onto Sam H.
He's got his back turned, though. Disruption, trying to set things up. Ling's here with the Split Earth. Off the mark. Quap comes in. Sonic Wave on 3. Big damage on G-Guard. Orchid goes on to Ling. Follow-up damage not quite there, but now Sam heads right up towards the high ground. Does what little damage he can. TNC feeling very good here. he's just charging on in. 700 movement speed. Why the hell not? No glyph here for the Dire side. BKB comes out for the Quap. Yule set up onto the Bloodseeker. BKB straight away. The LSA not going to do anything. Blood right. Connects on 2. And G-Guard just hanging out in the well. They're taking a bath while their barracks are getting killed.
If we call out anything, see if this will be enough damage to turn the fight. It doesn't look so. Silence out onto Net. They're going to chase down, try to get the offensive disruption. Oh, and a big echo slam.
Slam jam, thank you, ma'am, says the Earthshaker as 7 goes in. Sets some kills on Shadow Demon as well as the Leshrac. Laguna Blade finishes off the wicked 6 streak from the Bloodseeker, but the rest of the fight just disastrous for this Dire side. They'll lose the Gyro. He will buy back. Yamate just barely lives as he limps back to the well, and now they go right back for the structure. Still a long ways off for this glyph to refresh. Melee barracks down, and they'll be able to clear out the ranged also. Buyback available on the lone druid, but does have a Spirit Bear summon also.
The only real thing that G-Guard can take away is they took down Teehee, the Bloodseeker, and probably got a good amount of gold from that, but at the end of the day, losing a Rax at 25 minutes in, after you've already lost one of your Rax in the mid lane, it's not looking good, and we can see that difference in team net worth.
So now a lane down in the top. They took out the melee barracks mid, so a lane and a half killed. Ooh, Solar Crest on the Abaddon. I just love the way TNC are itemizing here. Solar Crest, very potent item just in general on this patch, and now the Vlad's comes out onto the Bristleback.
Absolutely melt when it gets Solar Crested.
That's a good point, yeah.
And the Vlad's up for Sam H too. Another thing I love. It's just AoE armor versus an AoE right clicker like Gyro. What's not to like?
Yeah, with the recent buffs to the Vlads, it feels like still an underutilized item in terms of how much it gives you.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not seeing more teams that they put that Shadow Fiend mid, and he seems to not really be able to have enough sustain in fights. And I'm really surprised that we're not seeing some of their cores pick up the Vlads for their Shadow Fiend. But a good pickup here, even though they don't have much of a right-clicking ranged hero to take advantage of that 10%. Lifesteal, the Quamp will appreciate it.
Okay, Radiance on the way for the Lone Druid, so...
That is not the item, I don't think.
I kind of brought that up as, well, Lone Druids like to get Radiance, but I don't think this is the game for it, and I'm really surprised that he went for it here.
I think they want to be able to split push, but you've already lost 3 racks. You want to be able to fight now with the bear.
That's the thing. This game is almost over at this point, and it just feels like at this stage of the game, BKBs are already out. The Radiance burn is past the window where supports are just going to die to it. The Earthshaker is going to sit far back, blinking an Echo. This is rough. Here we go. 7 hops in, sets things up with a Fissure. Queen of Pain drops the ulti, finishes off the Lesh straight away. BKB used by TC. Yamate drops the Laguna, but is it enough to bring him down? He's getting low. The Lone Druid trying to fight him, but he's barely surviving the Abaddon. The mech. Teehee is still alive. Yamate in the grave, and Ben getting low. There's the Echo Slam from 7. He holds on to it and sets up a double kill for himself. Ends with a triple as he finishes off the Gyro. A 5-for-0 trade. The hero of the game, TC on the Bloodseeker. The Abaddon, though, making all the difference in that final fight, keeping him alive when he was pretty close to death.
Just enough?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. TNC just bludgeoning down. That game looked so close for so long, and like I said, they just hit that power peak, and TNC realized it, and they're like, their Lone Druid isn't online yet, their Gyrocopter just got his BKB, doesn't really have any other damage items, we're just going to run at them. And it was enough.
That was just crisp execution. They drafted with a very clear image or a very clear plan, and they went right for it. I really feel like the Lone Druid, though, was a weak point for the Dire side. It just was not the game for it, and it was the final pick, if I'm not mistaken. So there were a few other things they could have considered there, but...
It kind of reminds me of that image of the guy that's like sitting in his room and like the wind and the rain's like pouring in, and he's like, they're like, oh, is this not uncomfortable for you? He's like, no, this is fine, nothing's wrong. And that kind of seemed like it was for the Lone Druid. It seemed like even though TNC was just bludgeoning, beating down into their base, he was still going for these, late game split push items like Radiance and Midas, and it just